previous video, we learned about the meaning of scene and node, but we only learned about them theoretically, so in this video, we will apply what we learned in the godot engine, so this is fun to watch. The first thing is, of course, if you are in 3D mode, convert it to 2D. And in the future, when you master 2D games, we will move to the more difficult one, which is 3D. The hand sign allows you to move in this scene simply. In any new scene, the master node of the scene must be defined. In other words, what will this scene be about? The first and second create a 2D or 3D node for you, while the third creates a special scene for the main interface, for example. The last one is for other nodes, such as the player and others. Since we are going to create a player, we will click on the last option and choose Character Body 2D, which we explained in the previous video. It is a very important video before starting applied work on the engine. As you can see, the logo of the scene has changed, as we have determined the idea of the scene. Any object in the game needs a shape, so we will click on the plus sign and choose Node Sprite 2D, or we can simply drag Godot's image into the scene. First, our player's appearance will be that of Godot. As you can see, Node Sprite was added automatically. Only his name has changed, but he is now, as we explained in the previous episode, he will now not interact with the floor, wall, etc., so we will add a collision shape 2D, which will make the player interact with his environment, but it has not been added to the scene because we have not determined a shape for him yet, so we will click here and choose a shape for him. I'll choose a square to have the same shape as the image. With this, we have added 0 to the coordinates, and we will also change the location of the sprite to it. We click on it. After that, transform and click on this mark so that its location becomes the collision shape. In order for the collision shape to appear to you, we change its transparency from here, but it is not the same size as the player, so we can make them exactly the same size. Click here and make sure that you have the mouse cursor selected here so that you can control the size and then change its size to match the size of the sprite. Thus, they become the same size and you can then remove the squares. Now that we've finished with the collision shape, we can hide it so it doesn't bother us. Now we change the name of the character body 2D to the name player. This is how we finished, and in order to organize our work, we will make folders in this place. We click on it and choose a new folder and call it Scenes to save the scenes in it. We create another folder, which we call Scripts, to save the scripts. We create a final folder and call it Assets to collect every asset that we will have in the future. Now, if we want to save the player's scene, press Ctrl and S or press Scene and save scene. As you can see, our scene name is Player. We choose Scenes folder and click Save. As you can see, the scene has been preserved. I am now creating a new scene and silence for the game world. For this, we click on 2D Scene. He will create a new scene, which is a 2D node, which is also an object and can be moved. Since we are starting out, let's just create a platform for the player to stand on. For this, we will add a static body 2D, and each object has a shape and a collision shape. For this, we will add a sprite to it and drag Godot's image to this place, where the sprite will become Godot's image, or you can use the easy method that we did previously. We will also add a collision shape to it. Or the player will not be able to stand because if the player had a collision shape, he would stand on whoever has the collision shape. But if, for example, the floor was without collision shape, the player will not stand on it and vice versa. For this, we will add a collision shape to the static body and make it a square shape, and we will do the same method to make them the same size. As you notice, if we click on this mark next to node 2D, everything inside this node will disappear from there. This means that if we move it, everything else will move, and if we click on this mark next to static body, what is inside it will also disappear, and this means that if we move it, it will move. Sprite and collision shape. For this, click on the static body and move it to the appropriate place where the player will stand. We'll move it over here because this big rectangle that you see. It is the only one that will appear when you start the game. After that, we change the size of the static body so that the player can move freely in this place in this way. When finished, we will change the name of the node to World. After that, we will save the scene with the player in the scene folder. Finally, to leave the player scene in the world scene. We click on this sign and choose Player Scene. After that, open. As you can see, we have moved the scene to this scene. Any changes to the player scene will apply here. Before running the game, we must do something first. Go to the project settings. After that window. Or search for it if you don't find it and go to Mode. Simon, you have disabled and you changed it to Canvas Items. If you want to play the game, you will have two choices. This will be to play the current scene, which is World Scene. For example, if you are in the player scene and click here, the player scene will play. The other option is to run the main scene. You can change this scene through the project settings and type Run, and you will see the main scene. Here, there is a world scene. If you click here and then close the window and press this button, you will be asked to choose the main scene of the game. We will select the current scene, which is World Scene. When running, you will notice that the player does not move and is not affected by gravity because it is a character body and he moves through the codes, and we explained this in the previous video. The importance of Canvas Items is that it makes the window dimensions not change. Whatever you did. In order to make the player a player who moves and is affected by gravity, we must add a script to the player by clicking on this mark, and we will choose the save location, and it will be in the scripts folder, and then we click on Open. Here it gives you the option to create a ready-made script for the player. There are two types of games. Platform is a type of game in which there is gravity and the movements are right-handed, left and jump. The second type is top-down, which is a game system without gravity and involves moving up and down, right and left. As for the ready-made script that is given to you, it is a special script for platform games. Therefore, we will choose the ready-made script option and then we click on Create, and here we have a ready-made script. But I will not explain this until the next video because it takes time. Now we can click here and the main scene will play even though we are in the player scene. As you can see, there is gravity and we can jump using the space button on the keyboard, and we can move left and right using the arrows. In the next video, I will explain the codes. Programming is an important thing in the game industry, so do not forget to follow me and activate the notification bell to receive all my new videos. Goodbye and thanks for watching.